So instead of an episode that hits you in the feels, why the fuck do we have an episode that's punching you in the gut? Like, seriously, this was a punch in the fucking gut for me. I don't know about you, but like, this was a punch in the fucking gut
See,
in how hard it hit.
unlike you weak-minded little normie, I don't have friends, so I didn't need to feel that. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it fucking hit me too, man. There's no greater fear. Well, okay, I can think off the top of my head, obviously some pretty big rational things to fear, but I think there's an underlying thing as people get older and you see people less and less about just growing apart and your differences becoming like more obvious and stuff, and like just people move on without you, you get left behind or they're left behind, then you're playing catch up. And I have been in Starlight Glimmer's exact situation before, where she's like, hey guys, meet my old friend. And then they're like, oh dude, we get along so much awesome with your old friend, like way more than you do. Of course, in my case, it's whenever I was it's whenever I had a girl I was trying to get with and brought them over to all my friends, and they're all tall, thin, and handsome, and they always wanted to fuck them. But that's not the point. The point is that, yeah, no, that this was, although I think adults sometimes yearn for the childhood days. I know I do sometimes. Just going to school, coming home, playing Spyro, watching Batman on Cartoon Network, waking up at every morning at 7 to Ed, Edd n Eddy and cereal. But I've never actually wanted to physically turn myself back into a child and actually, like, change up my room back to when I was a kid. That was creepy. That was
You
creepy.
think that Starlight's gonna get like a jail sentence for pedophilia or something?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like,
And
you
the
ever, you
sad
ever,
part is, in this world of magic, that's saying something.
I'm just saying. Like, I think Star Swirl the Bearded, the guy that discovered magic, basically. I know he didn't, but if he was still around today, he would have been like, the fuck, mate. I'm assuming that's how he talks. I don't know. I'd like to think that 1,000 years in Equestria has passed. Star Swirl talked like a dank memer, like he could summon like those okay signs and crying emojis. But yeah, no. So
Well, if him and Twilight ever meet, which considering the episode that just aired today has anything to say about it, he's gonna come up and be like, Twilight, the fuck, dude.
man, I wish this show was R-rated sometimes, and I really mean that, because I feel like a lot of the episodes could be kept basically the same, but just throw in some profanity, and it really wouldn't be that different if you think about it. Like the episode where Fluttershy almost get killed by bees, she could have I just totally imagine her, oh, fuck these bees.
Well, I don't know if you remember the thing that I told you where Andrea Libman was in an elevator that she was trying to go down, but it was in the up elevator, and you just
Yeah.
hear the petite little Fluttershy voice at the back going, fuck, 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 fuck. I was just like, I want to hear that now.
I want to say right now, I like Sunburst. I think he's a cool character because, like Sunburst, I too wish I could wear a cape all the time. And I used to have an awesome goatee, but I had to shave it for work. And, they're meeting up. They're going to hang out. Starlight's all stoked. She's like, I got all this old shit that we used to do planned out. It's going to be fire, mate. It's going to be great, great clickbait, mate. Rate 8 out of 8. And
That's my favorite one of all those.
and she's like, Sunburst, oh. And Sunburst is like, hey, friendo, how you doing? She's like, great. okay, let's go back to the castle and get you unpacked, and then we'll start our adventure. And then, I really wish I rewatched this episode, but I was too busy feeling sick because you know what? I gotta be honest. Sunburst and Twilight's interactions for the first like 4 minutes of this episode were gold.
Oh yeah, especially like you look like the whole musical thing of them going through the antique store and just looking at different things and all that. And what I find really funny is they're going through, and Starlight each time is just like smiling, because she's bored out of her fucking mind right now. But she's like smiling just, for the sake of Sunburst. And I like how Sunburst goes up a little bit later and is like, you don't have to like this with me. We can have our differences, And I'm like, why don't more people say that? Like, seriously? It's sad to see, like, you have to, like, everyone's talking about fake people, but, like, that's why. Because no one is talking to you in the fact of, you don't have to like this with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like if you like the TV show that's not typically for your demographic, and people are like, "Well, I mean, I don't like it, but you could still like it."
Yeah, something like that.
Subtle.
So a little bit later, and
Friendship is magic.
Well, so there was one point in that scene before it switches back over to the castle.
Or hentai.
What?
It's called hentai, and it's art. Have you seen that?
Yes, I saw it. Was when I first went on to iFunny, I saw it.
Yeah,
it's just like
I love the Samuel
hentai, and it's art.
I love the Samuel L. Jackson one. It's like, do you like anime? Yes, I do. Hentai too. I love that guy.
And apparently the part where Steve Carell is just like, no, God, please, no. Apparently, that's a cold open to an episode.
I never saw that episode of The Office. That's how that episode starts?
Apparently. One of my friends binge watched the series, and she's like, this is the best cold open ever. I'm like, that's the start of an episode? That's fantastic.
I can understand why that became a meme.
So anyway, there's a point where...
Also, I'm just going to be completely realistic right now. Twilight was fucking hitting the shit out of Sunburst. Holy crap. Like, he was getting along fine with Trixie and Maud. I'm just saying, there were some moments where I swear to God I saw Twilight making some eyes at Sunburst.
So... Well, if you read stuff like, remember that fan fiction on Letters from a Disgruntled Friendship
Student?
I need to see if that's still going, because if it is, that's fantastic. But because I haven't kept up with it since like season 5, I think. But
yeah,
what's so funny is her whole thing was trying to get sex. So if that's what is put in for this episode, I'm going to laugh my ass off at that.
Like I can't get over that. I almost think I ship Twilight and Sunburst now.
Yeah, I could see that.
Twiburst, more like Twi's gonna burst when Sunburst is through with her. Ayo!
No, Twi's gonna burst when Sun bursts.
Shit, that was better. That was way better. Like, they were bad jokes anyway, but that was the lesser of two evils.
Yep.
So I just want to point out, I'm literally rewatching all of Twilight scenes with Sunburst right now, like as we're talking, and I'm just further convinced. Like they're like pen pals now. They both speak old. Oh, this is something I need to bring up to you. Old Ponish. Old.
It's supposed to be Old English, technically.
Yes. Ponage, are you serious? That's great.
Yeah. But anyway, like I've been trying to say, there was a point where they're still in the store, and you see It's like we have one more section to check out, and Starlight's just like, I remember this being a lot smaller from the outside, and I'm like, yeah, that is every store ever when you actually come and look at it. But then they get home to the castle at least, and Sunburst gets a blind buy barrel. Now, keep in mind, I was at Cider Fest last week. The episode aired at that point. People were yelling out, "How dare you do a blind buy? That is the stupidest decision ever."
Well, I mean, what's the worst you'll find in a barrel? A dead body? I mean, yeah.
Considering they had Once Upon a Zeppelin earlier with the barrel stuff.
Hey, quick question. Would you rather buy a barrel and then find out it's filled with one dead adult, or like enough dead babies that would fill a barrel?
Neither, because that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, but the babies you could use for soup. So anyway, the episode continues. The episode continues, and I love that Sunburst Antiques. I just want to point that out right now. So they're speaking old Ponish. They're pen pals and shit. Some Starlight's all bummed. Day, Starlight's like, okay, go on an adventure. And Sunburst's like, oh, is Twilight coming with us? And I gotta admit, this was kind of a douchey.
Before this, though, there's a scene where she brings out this old game that Sunburst and her used to play.
Yeah.
It's called like Dragon Drop or something like that.
Chutes and Ladders.
Yeah, basically. So it's all about her. It's all about moving your character around, and if you land on a space, there's this little marble thing that pops up on the middle of the board and knocks you in. And right before this, Starlight tells Sunburst, or was telling Twilight about how Sunburst, before he got control of his magic, used to flip the board when it happened. And then Twilight's thing gets hit, and she's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then her piece falls, and so she flips the board. And Sunburst is just like, yeah, I have to admit, that was pretty adorable.
That's great. That really is.
So
So the next day, and I got it. This was kind of rude of Sunburst because first he's like, "Oh, where are we going? Twilight coming with us?" And then he's like, "No, it's just gonna be us." And the dude goes right back to sleep with like a dismissive "oh," and I'm like, I know we're supposed to feel bad for Starlight in this episode, but like, come on, man, that was just great bait, mate. So
even better though, they made a nudity joke here.
Yeah, another one. Which I mean,
it's like, can you turn around or leave the room so I can get changed?
I mean, I remember people talking crap on this joke because they're like, it was funny when Fluttershy did it, and I said, why? Because she's a girl. Sexist. So they're
hey,
about
Applejack was sexist as early as episode 3. Ain't that just like a boy? Can't handle the least bit of sentiment.
Yeah, but that's how Lauren Faust writes her shit. She's always like, I mean,
she's an older generation of feminists. Let's just say that.
I'm trying to think. Unless you're Mac or Professor Utonium, I'm trying to think of how many good guy dudes she actually writes. Whatever. So,
by the way, you're gravelly again.
Oh my god, this fucking bullshit.
I don't like it either.
Okay, so oh wow, your life is so hard. I'm sorry you have to deal with my problems.
Oh, you're still gravelly. What the fuck?
Oh, what the fuck?
I love doing these.
Oh yeah. So man, I told you we should have done it the old way. I know you didn't like editing because it took so long to render, but at least we didn't have to deal with my mic crapping out.
Yeah, but this gets uploaded right away, so I don't have to wait like 2 days trying to get through it.
I know, MLP TMZ over here in this bitch. Okay, so then they run up
MLP TMZ.
Okay, so
We are the tabloid of Brony News.
although to be fair, we're not making 20 minutes. We're not like a lot of people and other fans where we make literally 20-minute speculation videos on like a sentence from an interview. But anyway,
No,
so
that goes to New Rock Stars, who uses a 30-minute video for a 2-minute Star Wars trailer. It's awesome, but they kind of edge it out way too much.
ad revenue, boy. But yeah, so then they run into Mod. That apocalypse shit's real, bro. But yeah, so they run into Mod because I forget why they went into the caves.
They went into there because Starlight wanted to show them no, even before this, when they meet Trixie.
Oh, I couldn't remember if they met Trixie first or not.
Yeah. So they're going into the apple orchard, and Starlight's thing is, hey, we'll have this. Like, we used to drink apple juice all the time. And I'm like, that is me. Like, seriously, I was big into apple juice as a kid.
Was homeboy. I'll down a whole half canister of apple juice right now.
That's a heavy drink, though.
I really should because I hate this throat.
Huh. So, but then, so Trixie fell asleep near one of the trees, and Starlight bucked it to where she fell out of the tree.
She bucked it up
with another apple on the horn, just like with Sweetie Belle. And it was just as pervy as it was the last time.
I love Trixie, man. I couldn't believe she was out there. Like, she gave a reason, but I'm just like, dude, Starlight, just fucking ask her to move in already. It's
now reminding me of that DWK video for Flurry of Emotions. Is like, why can't we get Starlight to babysit Flurry Heart? Oh, and Spike's just like, well, I tried to go over to the wagon, but it just smells like girl jizz and alcohol for a half-mile radius.
It reminds me of Tristan from freaking from the what's it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. Just fuck already.
That was no whacking during episode 100. Oh my god, just buck already. From Bon Bon.
Yeah. Just buck already.
And then her other thing was, it's my new AFV, do not steal.
Fuck you, that was funny.
But so, let's get off of stuff that's more popular than us, and let's talk back about the episode.
Okay, go ahead.
So this whole scene part, that doesn't make any sense. This whole scene is about where Sunburst is interested in Trixie's magic. And I love some of these.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow.
And I love some of these because, like, one of them was where, like, he had it was basically his whole thing was, I knew I could master it if I just tried hard enough. And he had one where it was like, she crumpled up a piece of paper and like ripped it apart and then crumpled it back up to make it whole again. And then on the back side, you could see a bunch of like pieces of tape on the back and everything. Or there was another one where Sunburst had like a fake hoof that he just put all the ribbon in, before, to show that it was gone or whatever. And they had another one, which this was super cute, where Sunburst tries to do a card trick. And he just keeps doing one card after another. And she just shakes her head no. So is it this one? This one? This one? And she's just smiling the whole time. And it's super adorable.
Sorry, I was watching the Undercover Brony con vlogs.
Oh, I hear they're pretty awesome.
Hey, in that first one, who's the babe?
The babe? You mean
Yeah.
the one with the dark hair?
What? No, the one with the glasses.
Oh, that's my wife. Hands off.
When did you get married?
Dude, you
Wait,
were at my wedding.
who is this? Wait a minute. I don't go to post on YouTube. I post on Vimo.
Oh my
Okay,
I've
no.
never
So no,
you're a video homie.
yeah, no. So the Trixie gags are hilarious. I forgot how funny they were till they mentioned them all, but I love that card gag because and Starlight, poor Starlight, but man, that's some great visual gags. She's getting more and more frustrated and annoyed, and it's just fantastic. And Trixie is just like, Starlight, I love you, but I'm thinking we might want to try bringing someone else into the wagon. Bam, wham, bam, wham. So then they run.
Polyamory, it's get it.
Oh God, I hope not. So they go to. So then they go into the caves,
Mhm.
and then they meet Maud. And I'm
But
just gonna.
before this, Starlight is trying to show him the mirror pool.
Oh yeah, I don't know why she thought that would be a good idea.
Yeah, and she even says it. It probably wasn't a good idea to lift up the boulder that came through. And I'm just like, you didn't. You did not. You fucking idiot. You dense motherfucker.
That was a good callback too, because I think the Mirror Pool Pinkie Pie episode, I think it's been brought up a couple times, but that was for better or worse. It was one of the more memorable episodes of season 3, and it adds that little extra layer of mythology into the world. But wasn't it that one episode back in like season 5 or something where they Tarantino'd that episode and interviewed some of the main 6 for it? Didn't they
That
show?
was 6, and that was yes, there was a point where there was an extra pinky, and I think they were like, according to Anthony C, I think they were referencing multiplicity, but I have no idea.
Yeah, I know what that is. Yeah,
Just watch his video on it, you'll find out.
they go to the mirror pool, and they oh right, it's from the mirror pool that they go further underground to meet Maud, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, and I was gonna pose a question. You've heard of Mary Sue, right?
Yeah, where they're like so perfect and nothing can bring them down or whatever.
I'm gonna be honest. Around this point, I almost thought Sunburst was a bit of a Gary Sue. Because look at it this
Harry
way.
Sue? I didn't
Well,
know that was a thing.
well, Gary or Marty Sue, it depends, but they're interchangeable in a sense. Because think about it, this motherfucker knows super powerful magic. He was a nobody till Starlight brought him to prominence, and now he's a key player in the Crystal Empire. He knows an old ass language, and as the end of this episode foreshadows, he has a very important item in his hands: hooves. He knows he knows a shitload of shit about rocks. Everybody likes him. Everyone wants to be his friend, and just he's got pretty much 100% approval rating. I'm just
On
saying, like,
IMDb. Um, I'm just thinking of this fact. You mentioned either Marty Sue or Gary Sue.
I think it's Marty Sue, but I
One
thought,
that is Marty McFly.
oh my god, stop.
Now, considering that's a Robert Zemeckis film, that's not too far off.
Actually,
And
yeah,
and Gary, as in Gary's mod.
Gary's
Both
mod's
of those,
great.
both of those are considered like male Mary Sue's in their own weird way.
Yeah, Marty Sue or Gary Sue. I think there's a difference, but yeah, you can always look it up on TV tropes. But
I'm gonna
but
do that right now.
okay, but yeah, so no, it's cool. But then Starlight gets to get a little desperate, and this episode reminded me of Evangelion. To anyone that's watched Evangelion, I know I kind of reference them a lot, and I feel like I reference them a little too much just because I do watch a crap ton of other animes, but they're just so easy to roast. So anyone that's watched Evangelion, remember how like the first like 10 episodes, like there was some combat and world building, but there was also some like comedy too and lighthearted stuff. But then after a while, everything just got kind of, when they added subtext to literally everything, it all got dark and fucked up. That's what happened in this episode, because to jump plot points a little bit, she's super duper jelly of the fact that all her new friends get along really good with her old friend, because she's still stuck in the past for their interests. And instead of talking to him about it, she's being, I don't want to say she's being stubborn in a bad way, but she is definitely, she is definitely hurting herself a little bit. So she constructs a brand new spell. I want to point that out. In a world where pretty much every goddamn spell has been made, written, or whatever, in a night, she creates a new spell. She creates a new form of alchemy. She creates new life.
Even Full Metal Alchemist couldn't do that shit. Okay?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I love Starlight, but it's just weird. It's not weird. It's just kind of, I know it serves the plot, and I know I hope no one ever uses a spell again. But no one other than Starlight fucking Glimmer can make a spell on a whim just to impress a friend. I gotta say, that's some ingenuity, maybe a little bit of pulling it out of the ass. Just a little bit. But the spell, man, as soon as she turned them into kids and put them back in their old room to play that fucking board game that kept getting brought up throughout this episode, I'm being real with you right now. I was getting like creepy Marilyn Manson music video flashbacks. I was getting thrown in the closet by the brothers flashbacks. I was hearing like sing-songy rhymes in my head. Sunburst is freaked the fuck out. And what sells the creepiness to me is that there's not really super creepy music. I think it's mostly regular music. But Starlight is acting like this is normal. This is nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't want to play into DWK's autism thing, because he does analyze the show very much, and I don't want to analyze the show too much. But let's look at it like this. You have someone that, in some ways, similar to Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses, in a lot of ways, mentally, there's a lot of stunted growth there, because she never really grew up or got over that, Sunburst leaving her when she was like, let's say 5. And then, she meets the main 6 when she's, I'm guessing, like 20. And, well, I don't know how old they're all supposed to be. I know they're all in high school and Equestria Girls, but I refuse to believe that Rarity is a successful entrepreneur with multiple businesses across the goddamn fucking planet.
And like
she's
18.
And she's like 10 years younger than me. Fuck that, mate.
So,
but the point
I did find the TV tropes thing.
Okay, good.
This is what it says. It's a Marty stew. All the same rules apply, but a couple variations do tend to show up, expressing different ideas of what constitutes male and female perfection. Also referred to as Gary stew or Larry stew for those who prefer rhyming to alliteration and whose dialect has the Mary merger. Mary Joe or Marty Sam. So, yep. They're stew.
Good to know. More like sunburst, more like Marty bursts. But yeah, okay, so you have like someone. Oh shit. Oh fuck. God damn it. Why did I literally never that
is the official ship name of Starlight and Sunburst.
That son of a bitch has been on this show for like a year and I never heard that. Okay, so trying to get back to making me sound smart, you've got someone that never got over what, while we say is a convoluted writing cop out, to her was a traumatic event. And as we all know, you've worked in the industry, and I've as I've alluded to, I've had a very contemporary and non-bullied upbringing. I can tell you this shit that happens to you between the ages of, well, when you start remembering stuff, but like, if you think about it, a lot of the things that you like or don't like, a lot of ways you still feel the same way about them, but now that you're older, you use a lot bigger words and use a lot of things to try and justify it. But everything we feel and learn from our youngest years influence our decision making. Memories are the biggest factor in our decision making. It affects what we're learned, what we're taught, what we're seeing in movies, what we read in books, or once you get to be a teenager, fan fiction, usually Sonic fan fiction. It affects how you see men, women, children. I'm going to go as far as to say religions, races, politics, celebrities, musicians, all that shit. It's based on something that either happened to you or the first thought you had about it or how someone taught it to you a long time ago. And since we don't know anything about Starlight Glimmer's parents, I'm certain she wasn't an orphan.
I'm gonna say
But
this though. Going off of what you were just saying,
yeah,
read any Wikipedia article about any band or any band member, and you will see that shit everywhere. What does this song mean to me? Where did it come from? Like, I know I was reading
well,
3 Days Grace, and a lot
some
of
of the
their shit is like so fucking deep. I'm like, holy shit!
dude, it wasn't really them. It was all him. I forget the name, but the original singer,
Adam Gottlieb, I think.
Adam Godlier. That is all. Godlier is a very fitting name because he is God tier with his lyrics, man. But I was gonna say, David Draymond, Disturbed, Molested, Jonathan Davis, Korn. Well, first off, he grew up in Bakersfield, California, Oildale, which is horrible, but he was super molested. Corey Taylor, I think, was too by his babysitter. And shit like that stays with you, forms your thinking and your opinions. And unfortunately, you get too damaged to a point where you think you're right. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to go off and create a successful metal band or enslave an entire village. Those are exaggerations. The point I'm trying to get across is that it's that Starlight Glimmer, this whole like 5-minute spiel comes down to this. Starlight Glimmer just needs a hug.
She does. She really just needs a hug.
I really don't mean to anti-climax all of that because I do have an actual conclusion. And the conclusion is this. That was really fucked up, but it took a lot of balls to put that in this kids show because I guarantee you this. I have little kids in the family that have watched the show, and they saw this episode, and they were like, that part was creepy. And I'm like, yeah, MLP, kick those kids' ass.
Well, you do realize that they are that they have been constantly evolving since day one, because a lot of these kids who started out at 5 and 7-year-olds are now getting to 11 and 12-year-olds now. So,
I read that article too.
Yeah, so I'll link the article in the description if you guys want to see. It's how Starlight Glimmer has saved the show from canceling way earlier than it should have. Whereas a lot of people don't like Starlight. There's a reasoning for it. So it's a good read, though. So
we're already old assholes. There's nothing. I mean, we can appreciate Starlight's messages already, but realistically, we're going to cross our arms in the corner and going, man, why didn't no one teach me that lesson when I was 15?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's great. This just further proves that Starlight Glimmer is one of the best characters on the show, and I mean that wholeheartedly. I've liked her since she debuted. And this scene was great. It was fucked up, but it was great. And then the episode ends all heartwarming when all of Sunburst's new friends and Starlight's posse, they're like, hey, let's play a big giant version of that board game. And the whole message is, even though we've grown apart from what we used to be, it doesn't mean we can't grow closer with who we are now. It's very poignant. It's very poignant. It's very great. It's very heartwarming. But then the last 2 seconds are like, yo, motherfucker, Sunburst has got Starsfold the Bearded's book. Hoo, hoo, hoo.
Even better, though, that whole scene, one of the things that was just noticed, and this was also at Cider Fest, I was at one of the panels that had Lightning Bliss, Toon Critic,
the homie Toon Critic,
DeWilstonator, all them. And one of the things that was brought up that they just noticed was, because they were doing a review of, the episode that it aired the previous day, and they noticed at the start of the episode, Sunburst had a lot of books for reading on the train.
Yeah.
Those were all the books that were lined up for that giant version of the board game.
Oh, no fucking way. That's awesome.
Attention to detail, my friends.
I don't always pay attention to detail, but when I do, I'm like John Small and remember every fucking incendiary irrelevant background character from season 1.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Granted, most of them are still around.
Huh?
I said, well, I think most of those background ponies have stuck around. But yeah, so that was the episode. It was a very good episode. I still think it was a pretty risky episode to touch on. I mean, of course, it didn't go too into it because even if a lot of the fan base is getting older now, the fact still remains that they are still a little younger. But I like that subtle little. It's like when they made the Flutter Butter episode. It's like it's just something so just unapologetically just blunt and harsh that like you almost need it. And
which Flutter Butter episode? And you are gravelly again,
motherfucker. The one with Fluttershy's brother.
Oh, Flutter Butter.
That's what I said.
I was thinking Flutter Butter. Where
yeah,
a stick of butter.
Pancakes. Oh yeah, can I have some extra Flutter Butter with that?
What?
It's some
sorry,
extra.
I mean butter.
It's some extra spiked syrup.
Oh, you want vodka in your? In Soviet Russia, we have vodka flavored syrup.
My favorite is vodka flavored water.
There's actually vodka flavored whipped cream.
Oh, I've had that. That's disgusting.
I actually kind of liked it. But that was just me.
What do they teach you in that state?
Do you not realize that if you look at the amount of bars across this country, Wisconsin has the most?
Yeah, I saw a crap load of them in Kenosha, and a lot of them looked like they didn't allow brown people inside, so I couldn't take my dad in them. Okay, so yeah, I give this episode a solid. I'm gonna. Oh man, I want to give it somewhere between an 8.75 and a 9.25 because there's just fuck it. I'm just gonna give it a 9.5 because you know what? There's a lot of great underlying subtext to this episode, and it reminds me why the Flutter Brother episode was so great because it's the kind of thing that needs to be. I don't want to say needs to be addressed, but it's the kind of thing that was just addressed really well. And in like
Babseed.
You know what? I wanted to see more Babseed. Fuck people.
Oh yeah, I like
that song.
But
I like that song.
Apple was kind of weird.
I remember
the lesson material wasn't really well thought out. The other parts of the episode were good, but
I'll give you that. But that song looked and sounded like a Beatles song. Babseed, Babseed, what we gonna do? Maybe it was a little more Scooby Doo, but yeah, that's my score, 9.5.
Yep. I give this a 9. It had some interesting moments. It just felt like there were too many of those little montage things thrown in at the beginning, but other than that,
Yeah.
the episode was really, really good. And especially, it kept punching me in the fucking gut. I
Does it?
swear.
There's one of my favorite tropes on TV tropes is, does this remind you of anything? So, hey, John, does this episode remind you of, hey, generation 1990 to, that was born between 1990 and 1999? Does this remind you of anything?
There was actually a picture that I saw that it was it's in the future, and these kids are getting history textbooks, and they have a portion bleeped out where it's 1980, like from the beginning of time all the way to 1980, 89. Then it goes to 2000 and beyond, and they're like, and one of the kids is like, "Why don't we have 1990 to 1999?" And the teacher takes her glasses off, a single tear rolls down her cheek, and she says, "Because only 90s kids remember the 90s."
Oh, shit.
I'm just like, wow. Oh, man.
That's funny. That right there is funny.
All right, guys. Well, tomorrow we will be going for the finale that aired today, and my wife will be on for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, any last words before we end off?
Yeah, send tissues.
Yeah. Send tissues because he needs them. He's sick. So, that's it from me, John.
Yeah.
And Mr. Coffee McCofferson. And we will talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Help me.